I'm Dov.
I'm Nicole.
And we're Twin Flame Revolution. We're so excited to have you guys on to our Sunday sermon. So this is where Nicole and I get to spend some time with you guys as a collective to talk about important issues, to do sermon on them, to bring awareness to them, to motivate you, to bring awareness and awakenings within you on different topics. And it's amazing. And to have your energy collectively with us is something that I really wanted to just honor all of you guys for this morning and just tell you how much it meant to us to have you guys with us in the mornings and to do this every week.
Yes. What's up, Samantha? What's up, Jennifer, Carmen, Michelle? And I am wearing a spacecraft shirt. Look at my babies. It's my car. All over my shirt.
So if you guys are new to us, welcome.
Singapore's here. Yes.
Amazing. So if you're new, welcome. Feel free to subscribe and make sure that you're connected. I'm moving stuff because my dog is in the way and she's just putting her fur everywhere. And so if you guys haven't met Sophia, she'll pop in and out of the video. She's a big part of all of our work and she gets a lot of FOMO if she misses anything that is happening. So she loves all of you very much. And I've got some messages from some of you guys that she has some of her own fans. So that's really exciting.
She has fans that love her. When she shows up, their dogs go nuts. So she's a star, my little baby.
Absolutely. So we're really excited this morning to talk about something really, really profound, really important, and really a very big staple and principle to all things, right? And so as I said, if you guys are new, we're motivational speakers, conscious mentors, energy healers, and activators. So one of the things that, there are these principles that kind of make up all of these major arcanas in our life, in the world, in the way things are structured. And one of them is this concept of as within, so without. So we're going to tell you guys right off the bat that we're going to be just touching on this subject. We're just going to start the conversation of this subject. And we're probably going to come back to round 2 of this or round 3 of this and so on and so forth because there is so much here to say. So just know that this is the first round and sort of certain aspects that felt important to share with you guys today. So let's just begin by talking about the concept in general. So as within, so without. So what does that mean? Maybe some of you have heard it, some of you are familiar with it, some of you are not familiar with it. This concept that, and Nicole and I talk about this frequently, right? This concept that we are actually this microcosm of the existence that is without us, meaning around us, that is created around us, that is existing at all times, right? Everything can be sort of distilled back to its smallest part. And you are one of those parts, right? You are one of the parts of consciousness, one of the parts of creation, one of the parts of projection and reality shifting, right? And so you are also part and parcel to the whole, meaning that whatever you go through, whatever you experience is also happening on a larger scale, right? Which brings me to this concept. And if some of you guys missed the video, go back and listen to our sermon as separation as the original sin, because it goes back to this concept of you are not separate. You're fully and completely connected to all of these things because they are happening within you and they are also happening outside of you so that you can see it and you can gauge it and you can monitor it. And you can know if this is going on outside of me, then this is what I am tapped into as a collective. This is what is also going on inside of me to a certain degree. And that creates a lot of possibility and change. So when I was writing this post for this sermon and I said, you and you alone have the power to change the reality. Our reality, not just your reality. I really did mean that because each and every one of you, if each and every one of us started to correct and shift and understand this concept within us, as many of you are, everything outside shifts. And I know you're saying, but what about that person? But again, if every person understands this concept, then that creation just immediately shifts. Not to mention you do have a massive impact on your own life and those around you all the time.
Oh my goodness, yes. So let's talk about some parts of this. I want to break down the mind body. We have this mind, we have this emotion body. And so actually while I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about, so when I was 19, I went into my first rehab. And I remember we weren't allowed to get some of the things that we wanted. We had to pray for them. So I went to a religious rehab. And I remember me and this woman, she reminded me of I Love Lucy, and the Spanish version. We used to call her Spanish, I Love Lucy. And we would sit there and we would pray for certain things. And I remember one week we were sitting there, we kept thinking about sunflower seeds. We wanted sunflower seeds. And we just kept praying. We're like, Jesus, give me sunflower seeds. And people used to bring us stuff there. They would donate. They would donate clothes. They would donate things. And we kept this a secret between us. And we would just sit there every day for like weeks. I want sunflower seeds. And I'm not going to lie, this is the truth. One morning, they bring in all the stuff that was outside. And there was 100-pound bag of sunflower seeds. And I hit my knees and I cried over sunflower seeds because I just saw it. I was like, wow, like prayer isn't just like, praying to, it's speaking out the things that we want, the things that we desire. It's not just about like the things that you need. It is about everything that you are creating it through your voice, through what you are saying, through your mind, what is coming through. And all of a sudden you got this, and it was the first time that happened, and I watch it recreated in my life. And so I want to go into the emotion body, right? So here's a really cool thing with your emotions is that when you make a decision that is aligned with who you are, you will have peace, you will find joy, you will have freedom, you will feel good, you will feel grounded. It will just, you can breathe in that choice. And then we make choices that go against ourselves. And we feel guilt, and we feel shame, and we get angry, and we become envious, and we become greedy, and so I say that because it's a gauge. Your choices will create an emotion, and so you can gauge things. Now, sometimes it's really hard to let go of things that we do that don't align with ourselves because they become habits and they become a part of us. They become a part of our identity. So when we are releasing this, it'll feel like a purge. It is not easy. Sometimes we want to hold on to it because we're so scared of what's next. We're so scared of the unknown. But it's just an indicator. Your emotions don't have to be scary. Yeah. We can watch them. I remember when Dov and I, right before I got off of heroin, and I tell this story a lot, but it's very potent. It's a potent story. It's a beautiful story. It's like as soon as I said to Dov, like, I'm not ready, but I'm waiting, I know that at some point I'm going to stop. And my wife said, I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to love you right now. I'm just going to love you. Then what did I do? I accepted where I was. I accepted Nicole where I was. I accepted that I had created this reality. And that I was in it, and that I wanted something different. I thought I wanted something different. So there was a level of acceptance. So wherever you are right now, if you could have a level of acceptance in the reality that you've created, I'm not saying you have to be okay with that reality. I'm saying you have to accept what you already created. Understand that you yourself created that. Even though my life was hard and a lot of things happened to me that were sucky and that maybe wasn't my fault, actually. Just accept that all those things happened. I accept my reality that I created. And as soon as I accepted it, deep breath, because I was like, oh, I did create that. Okay, cool. Sat with it, loved myself in it. And then all of a sudden, I went, I don't like this reality. This reality isn't me. And then from that place, that was a powerful part of the story, because as soon as I said, this isn't me, this is not what I want, and that I had just a tiny bit of trust that there was a possibility that I could move through this and get out of it. Like that door was open, that I talk about a lot. If you could trust the little crack in the door. Oh, that was powerful, because in that trust, that little trust, everything changed. I saw change, and I started to make decisions that was commitment to who I really am. And that wasn't that Nicole. It wasn't the one that was getting high. It wasn't the girl locked in the bathroom. It wasn't the person stealing from Dov and not coming home for 3 days. It wasn't the person that chose the drugs over my relationship, over my family, over my friends. It wasn't the me that was isolated, 100% disconnected from everything that I love now. That wasn't me. It was a part of my life. It was a beautiful, actually, part of my life, because so much came through that grinding and getting through it. So acceptance of my reality, right? Accepting my reality right now as it is. Understanding that may not be the reality that has to stay with me. Trusting. Trusting a little bit. And then from there, we can grab hold of choice and take responsibility of choice.
Yes. I love that. And I love, Nicole said something really important that is something that I want to expand on. It's the idea also of responsibility and fault, right? So when we think we're going to start taking back responsibility for our lives, we often go into this energy of fault. If we take responsibility, it means we take fault. Taking fault and responsibility are absolutely not the same thing,
yes.
right? Taking responsibility means that I understand that I can shift and control and be in my power, and that I can, move things, and that I've made decisions in this lifetime, in other lifetimes, that are having energetic repercussions and connections and magnetization and all these things, and that does not have anything to do with fault. And so I actually just invite you guys to start to release that idea of either it was my fault or it wasn't my fault, as it's all a play of decisions and power. And that idea of fault actually brings us out of our power, right? And that's a sidebar on this issue, but I really wanted to say that to you guys. As soon as she said that word, I said I really wanted to go into that to clarify and just begin to start clarifying that notion for you guys. So when we think about this concept of as within, so without, one of the things that we get very focused, right, before we kind of think about this is things are, one of you said something beautiful in the comments. You said things are really challenging right now in the world, out there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of breakdown, right? And one of the reasons there's a lot of breakdown is because all of you are doing so much amazing work to start to shift your own consciousness, your own responsibility, your own awareness. As that shifts, it brings those things up to the surface. However, right? Taking it from this angle of what do we do, right? That is what people often say. What do I do about this? And it is amazing to be an advocate, and it is amazing to have a cause, and it is amazing to have passion for something. And I applaud you, and it's part of some of your makeup to do that, and it's responsible. It is your way of being responsible and self-expressive in different ways. However, I want to invite this concept to you as well as a precursor to that action is being. Right? Because the thing is that we need to start to be what it is that we want to experience in our external reality. We need to be that shift. We need to be that transformation. We need to be that love or whatever it is that we would like to experience. So whatever you want to experience in this world, we cannot just step out and advocate or fight or war for that concept without actually starting to exist and embody the experience that we want to have in the external world. So if you are doing, how are you doing? Are you doing with anger? Are you doing with fear? Are you doing with judgment? Right? And if you are doing, have you been? Right? Are you being? And look, we are not at a place where all is completed within us. This is a process. This is an evolution. This is a growth. We don't just wake up and go, oh, I have none of that within us. In fact, it's actually pretty contrary. I'm going to tell you right now that you have all of that within you.
Yes.
Right? Because there is no separation, so we're interconnected, and you have all of that. All of those things that you think are without you, that are separate from you, that are outside of you, and you're like, I could never. That is horrible. We have an aspect of that within us.
We do.
Why? Because we're all connected to each other.
Yes.
So we house that to a degree. We do house that, right? And so if we want to start to see that shift really on the most ultimate scale, even if you are still an advocate, even if you take to the streets and you do marches and you are a politician and you are this and you are that and I advocate for you to do that.
Yes.
I advocate for you to express yourself the way that is right and necessary for you, because we all have our part in this process. But being able to come into that being of that reality as well, and understanding that you are this projector. Right? You are projecting all of this into the world. So if we look around and we look at the wall and we're like, oh my goodness, there is war and there is hunger and there is, discord and there is darkness and there is all of these things. Understanding that we are all interlaced in that energy. And if we want to change it, it starts changing inside of us. It starts changing inside of us. And that there isn't something that we have to battle per se outside of us, but a real need to shift inside of all our individual beings.
Yes.
And then you can show up in your doing in a very different way, right? You can actually either, one, so I heard some of you on the other hand saying, I don't want to, be out there and do this and do that. You can just be in your state of acceptance and understanding and shifting and love and awakening and all of those things. You can be in that, and that is changing other people. You don't have to do anything. And if you're out there going, but I need to, be there, and I need to march, and I need to, have that blog, and I need to have that conversation, and that's okay too.
Yes.
Right? But being in the energy that you want to experience, walk that advocacy, walk that article, walk that, a television premiere, do that, take your platform and exist in the energy that you want to create. We talk, about this concept of creating heaven on earth. We talk about this concept of creating a blissful state. And in order to get there, in order to create and release these things that we don't want to see, one, we have to see them. That's what's happening now. We're seeing lots and lots of things. They're coming up, right? It is not all what it appears. And then, on the other hand, we have to exist in it. Because people will say, how many times have you prayed for something or called in something? And when that prayer or that gift comes to you and that blessing comes to you, you're not ready for it. You're not aligned with it. You're not prepared to receive it. You don't connect to it, right? You can all stop and take that as homework and think about a time that happened. That means that it's very easy for us to think, I want to create that. I want that to happen in this world. I want us to shift into that reality. But if we're not there, we can't fully move into that reality. We can't shift into that truth if we are not there. So your being is everything. So as within, so will it be outside of us. So will it be what we experience that seems to be outside of us, even our bodies.
Yeah.
Even our bodies.
Oh my God, yeah. Talking about bodies, talking about sickness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And it was funny, Dov just said that, but I kept seeing the word sabotage. Sabotage for many of us. And I talk about this all the time, and I will continue to remind you, because I have to remind myself on a daily basis that at every moment you are getting aligned with your higher self, that your human form and your ego that's attached to it is going to be yanking on your friggin' coattails or your shirt tails or your dress, whatever you're wearing. It's going to be like, no, I don't want to die. And then it's trying to kill you, right? And it's like, it's going to show up as you're having these breakthroughs, right? And so it often will show up in your actual body. Your physical form, this body, is actually not within. It is without.
Right.
It's a part of without. So sometimes if we worry hard enough, we will make ourselves sick. Right? I've studied Eastern medicine. Worry actually causes tumors in the body, right? So we do create some of this stuff, and I see it all the time. Someone will have a huge breakthrough, and the next day I get that email or that call. They're like, I just got sick. What is going on? I'm throwing up. I'm friggin' sick as hell. I have a fever. What is going on? Our friggin' form is like, nope, not going there. That's scary. That's the unknown. What happens now if I start to succeed? What happens if I start to become, I'm gonna lose it. I could lose it. I may not get there. We're always fearful of losing something or not having something that we really, really want. It's one of the two main fears that really mess us up, and where sabotage wants to come in. And so we can actually make this body from choices that we made in past lives. Sometimes we'll see babies getting sick and things like that. And I don't want to go too far into that because it's like a whole nother subject, and it causes anger. And so I just want to say to you, though, that there's a lot there that affects our actual body.
Yes.
On the other end of it, when we align with our higher self and we are in full alignment and we get those moments where we're like, oh man, I'm in my purpose. Oh man, my mind is really just aligned with friggin' all this beautiful love energy, this frequency. Like I can like forgive, and we're all of a sudden, if there's something wrong with your physical form, it's gonna start to heal. Right? So when we are healing and we are connecting at spiritual level, the body will actually have to literally bow down to your greatness, and it will heal itself. It happens. I've seen it time and time again in my life. I've often on 20 years, right, of putting nasty things in my body, doing crazy. I was bulimic for 10 years. My body has suffered, and my body has constantly healed itself, where I literally give thanks every day, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, it makes no sense. I'm just like, shouldn't have any teeth. I should be really sick. And I'm not going to lie, there were times where I was really sick. Yes. I was really sick, like for like a year with like autoimmune stuff. I was really sick, and there was a spiritual sickness trying to like come out, and I was like trying to heal this part of me. And as I was healing, things started to heal without me.
Yes, I love that Nicole brought this up. I love that we're talking about that, because we think that a lot of these things are part of us. They're within us. But the thing is, the body isn't. It's an expression, right? All of these things are expressions of what's happening inside, right? And so you can start to develop this understanding of the interconnectedness of all of these things. And some of you are very aware of it, and some of you are not. And you're starting to have this awareness in this moment as we're talking about, wow, my body is an expression of that. My body is an expression of my ideas. My emotions are a response to those things. All of these things stem back from an energy. Those energies all go back to source, and your source, your soul template. All of these things coming back from this and slowly finding their point from infinite creation, distilling it down through you, creating multiple projections, multiple expressions, multiple projections and expressions. And it's like a wave. Right? And so you can trace them backwards. The answer is always backwards, not outside. The answer is not in the symptom. The answer is not in the projector, or projection, I should say. Right? So when Nicole and I talk about this, I say, and I've talked to you guys, some of you guys, about this. If we're looking at the wall, because we put a movie up on the wall and it's not working, something's off in the right-hand corner, how much sense does it make for me to go to the wall and start tapping on the wall? That's not there. It's not coming from there. So your body, if your body is having breakdown, there is breakdown coming from somewhere else. There is breakdown coming from the mind. There is breakdown coming from the energy body. There is breakdown coming from past, right? There is breakdown from the present. And so again, coming back into this, if you want these things to change in many ways, it comes down to this concept of being.
I love it. I love it. Actually, when we're talking about the breakdown, so I'm just seeing all these structures that we create in our lives, right? Dov was talking about the projection. So we create structure. It's like actual, like tangible materialism, things that we're creating in our lives. And it has structure. It has form, right? And if it's the form that you don't want, if it's the form that you do not want, you can't have this beautiful breakthrough of what you want without that being dismantled. And if it's a structure, only chaos and breakdown's gonna move it out of the way. It's like when there's a building there and you're like, well, I want to put a new building up. What happens? The demolition team comes in with a bomb. I came in like a wrecking ball. Yes, it's like boom. We're seeing this globally. We're seeing this happening everywhere, not just within you. You're seeing things that have been going on for a very long time. It's not just happening now. You're watching it crumble. And for it to crumble, we have to see it and identify it. So lately, the news has been pretty hard to watch for the last, it's been hard for a very long time to watch. And we're like, what is going on? We have to look at it. We have to break it down and restructure it, right? That's what's happening right now. And so there's ancient texts that state that we are capable of having heaven on earth. So now we're going to take it to a new level. As above, so below, baby. So there's many texts, heaven on earth. And that's what a lot of people believe in. Believe that is possible. And I know it's possible because I see it at moments in my own life. And I know that if I can have it in moments in my own life, then I know that we can have it on a level of globally around the world, and we can create that.
Yes.
And it's about trusting in that. Again, the door opened just a little to trust that everything that has happened has a bigger purpose. It's bigger than our emotions. It's bigger than our anger. It's bigger than our fear. It's bigger than our fear. We created all of this, and now we're not happy with it. And so we got to take it down. Yeah. And we're taking it down. And it's happening. And so it's like, pull your bootstraps up. We're doing it. Seriously, like every day. And I don't say this in an egotistical way, but I have to like man up, woman up. I have to breathe in and connect to the earth. Watch the earth. Like I go outside and I see the animals running around and there's all these lizards. I have these lizards that stop in front of me and they do this head nod to me. Like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, it's gonna be okay. Right? I see my dogs like running around having a good time and they're enjoying themselves. And I'm like, yeah, it's really okay right now. It's okay right now for you. You can at this moment like access that heaven on earth. You can access that peace. I say this all the time. You can access your strength. You can access anything that could come against your fear. You have access to all that right now, no matter where you are, no matter where you are in the world.
Yes. Right. So if you guys are looking around and you're having a hard time with what is very distantly macro, so what is like going on globally, what is going on in your country, or it's very sort of closer to you and it's what's going on in your life, your career, your relationship, then bring it back even further, what's going on in your body, right? Understanding that all of these things stem from an internal reality, right? As within, so without, so without, so without, so without, and it expands. And so that also brings us back not only to this concept of responsibility, but empowerment, right? Of creation, of you co-creating your reality, not having your reality happen to you, not having your reality happen to you. When we approach it in a way that we feel that it is happening to us, we feel very disempowered. We feel very afraid. We feel very angry. We feel very confused because we've taken ourselves out of alignment, out of truth, and out of power. So test this. When you start to go into feelings of, I have no control over this is happening to me, what happens? You get anxious. You get uncomfortable. You get nauseous. You get angry. You get scared, you get sweaty, you want to run, you want to pull yourself away from yourself, you want to retaliate, you want to feel hateful. Why? Because that's a gauge that you are actually stepping out of what is true. What is true has an internal gauge for you. You will have a physical, visceral reaction to that. Now, if you breathe into what I'm saying for a second, you're connected, you're creating, you have impact. You are responsible, and I mean that in the most beautiful, exciting way. You are able to create the change you want to experience in your life. And if you, without ego and without thought and without resistance, if you feel that and you hear what I'm saying, what happens in the body? Peace, breath, relaxation, empowerment, connection. So when a lot of you ask us, how do I connect to myself? How do I know? How do I hear my intuition, right? And there are lots of things that need to happen for some of us to hear our intuition and to trust ourselves. There are so many blocks that can appear and beliefs, programs and fears and traumas and all of this. But start experimenting with this very thing that we're talking about. How does it feel inside of your body? What happens inside of your body when you tell yourself that reality versus when you start to find the thing that is actually aligned in truth and self-empowerment and love and not in an energy of illusion? And this factor alone can allow you to gauge back and forth. And again, this goes back to being what we want to experience, being what we want to see others experience.
I love what my baby just said. I did. You know, it just reminds me of like, I remember when Dov, like right before we moved to Florida, I remember Dov, it was before I even said I wanted to move to Florida, and her and I had the thought, like the seed was planted that we wanted to work together, and we didn't know about the timing. We didn't know. And I remember it was like, I went to work one day and I started to feel into what it would be like to go to my job, and it was my own business and we were both very successful at the time, to go to my job every day. And I felt into that energy and I was like, ugh! I came home and I was like, I don't think I could do it anymore. Like, so sometimes when we have to think about, like, if I stay and do this, if I make this decision, go into how you're feeling. that first initial feeling usually is the right intuition. It's the right feeling, right? And then if you're going to make a decision, think about like, if I make this decision, and don't go into fear and don't go into what if I do this, and then just the thought, if I make that decision, how does that feel? And all of a sudden you can take a deep breath. That's awesome, because that's probably the right decision for you. And when it's the right decision for you, the universe is going to show up for you. And you make the decision in your mind and you go, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I don't know how the hell that's going to happen, but I want to do it. And we hold on to that vision, because now we're talking about, we're creating this projection now of what I really want, what I really desire, and what that really feels like, what that really could look like, right? We start going into imagination of, oh my God, what that would taste like, smell like, and then all of a sudden the universe goes, I know how you can do that. That's easy. You want it? I'll give it to you. And then from there, we can start to create. Dov said something very beautiful before. There is our stuff that will try to get in the way of that. It gets very complicated. That's why when we started this video, we were like, holy God, we could talk about this till nauseum. We could go on and on and on. And so we're going to go even more deeply into this. I think we're going to definitely very soon go right back into this, maybe even next Sunday, because I want to talk about specific things. But just understand that like we're starting to chip away. We're starting to bring this to consciousness. We're really looking at this, right? I love what we talked about in the beginning, and I want to restate it. It's that, and I forgot. It actually left me.
That's
wow,
okay.
Cool.
You know, I was thinking about something actually when Nicole was talking about, which is if you feel disempowered, right, in this moment, if you feel like you are overwhelmed by everything that's happening, if you feel like you're overwhelmed by what's happening in your life or the world, like just allow yourself to ground into this for a second. That actually all you have to do is be what you want to experience and be who you are. That's actually all you have to do. All the rest you can do. All the rest is bonus. You can express yourself in new ways. You can find different angles to do it. All of those things. But if you feel overwhelmed, understand that it's just this small internal job of doing what actually feels good and is right for you anyway. So just give yourself a moment, give yourself a break, give yourself a breath, and allow yourself not to feel that you don't matter. And then I heard some of you say like, but I don't matter, and I'm just out there, and I'm not connected to any of this, and what could I possibly do about, you know, the oceans, or about this, or about that? And it's like, you can affect anything, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how separate it seems from where you are in your position. You are affecting it. You are changing it. You have been. And that's why we're in a different place right now. That's why we're constantly expanding and pushing through and releasing these things. And things are coming to the surface, and things are being released, and they are changing all of the time by you being in truth and you having more and more expansion and more consciousness and more awakening, more and more connection to love energy, right? Because that's all that exists. All that will ever exist.
Yeah, that's why I always say love wins. So there's no fear, because love's gonna win, baby. Because it's the only thing that exists.
100%. So we love all of you guys so much. I know we're going to have to come back to this topic.
Yeah.
Especially since we have a lot of other things to talk about, and we're so happy to serve you guys. And if you guys are new to this, make sure that you subscribe and follow the page, because if you don't follow, you won't get those notifications. So make sure, some of you guys have asked us, if you follow and you put it as first view, you'll be able to see when we're coming live and we're doing different things, and we're here to serve you. So we love you so much. We'll also make sure to come and see us again. We'll be here every Sunday at 11 Eastern, except for when we have a holiday, which next week is a holiday. So we will post whether we are on or not, but we are with you guys. We love you. If this video was valuable to you, please make sure that you share it with your friends so we can serve as many people as possible. Tag them in this. If you're watching this in the replay, we love you.
We love you.
And make sure that you let other people know. We love you guys so much. Have a good Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.